We tried powerlifting for 90 days and this happened.
Yeah. But before we get into that, let us explain what powerlifting is.
In powerlifting, you have 3 movements that you have to complete. The squat,
bench,
and the deadlift. And these aren't just your normal gym PRs, and they have to be hit to standard.
So we competed in the IPF where there's specific rules to be met. So that's for your squat, bench and deadlift. There's specific equipment to wear to make sure you're not helping yourself or you're not doing anything sort of underhanded or which can give you an advantage over other people. And also where the lifts are done slightly different to your average gym goer.
The worst thing about powerlifting for me was the amount of struggle that I had going into it. Back in November when I actually wanted to commit to it, I remember I got the tonsillitis and I was in the hospital for a good 2 days but ill for about 2 weeks. Vomiting every night, it was one of the worst things ever. I couldn't eat and I lost about 5 kilos. One of the worst experiences I had in my life. There was a lot of struggle before powerlifting, and that's not even talking about the actual powerlifting training itself. Like, as much as I could have enjoyed it, I just didn't commit to it and I robbed myself of so much progress. The amount of discipline that I built from it has been unmatched compared to anything else because I genuinely didn't want to train not like a monkey. I wanted to lift heavy every day, and powerlifting, forced me to stop that.
But let this be a lesson to a lot of you people out there. You get like one setback or a few setbacks and you think, actually, I don't feel like doing this anymore. You are robbing yourself of a success that you don't know you have yet. Well, I competed first time around and I managed to do okay. I think I did pretty well. But because Wasim had so much mental going on with constantly being set back, feeling like no progress was being made, he ultimately didn't commit in the end and just stuck to kind of normal training, which is always fine. It's always fine. Don't get me wrong, training at all is better than not training at all. So as long as you're doing something, you're still above the rest of the people. But it was that next step which you need a bit of mental backing for, and so going in the gym and reinforcing yourself ideas that you kind of already know is what's most important.
What issues would you say you had? Because surely there must have been the great likes of Rayhan.
First time or second time?
First time.
So I think first time for me was more so the uncertainty of everything. I'd never tapered. I didn't really know anyone who'd done tapers personally. Like I had my friend and technically coach, Ned, who taught me everything.
Ned, we love you, massive shout out.
Ned the GOAT, this is him. So even though he told me everything, it's hard to know what a taper is actually going to do to you because you've never done one before. So when you're hearing a lot of like new terminology, like at least when Wasim went to compete for the first time, he had me and Ned and recently just went through it all, so I could also give some shortcuts. But I didn't really know what was going to happen. I didn't know how singles or triples or doubles worked in terms of like peaking yourself. I didn't know how to taper right, what's right for my body. I didn't know how my fatigue management was going to be. There were so many unknowns to the point where I kind of just thought, fuck it, it is what it is. Like I'm just going to go in and do it. And initially that gave me a bit of unease. Like there were some days where I was overshooting and I was missing lifts and I used to think, how the fuck am I going to be on stage doing this and that? But in the end, closer to the competition, it gave me confidence because I thought, worst case I fail, like it's completely fine. And the fact that I failed my third squat on depth, it literally just set me up for the rest of the day to be like, I don't care, it is what it is from this point on. So I just kind of yielded everything and it worked out in the end, so.
Yeah, powerlifting is one of those things where if you have a bad day, you can't let it determine the rest of your workouts.
Yeah.
That is so important, and I let it get to me way too much at certain times, especially with bench. For someone who has a poverty bench, for the obvious lack of commitment to learning how to bench press properly, it is a skill, it is a very technical movement where you can't just press the weight, and it's a movement where it's ridiculed with ego from every single person on the planet. I don't care.
Yeah.
So having to take the ego out of it and actually put on 70 kilos for a working set.
The average person's gym bench PR has the bar, swings it down, trampolines it up, hips super in the air, toes up, ass crack clenched, all of that. Whereas in competition, you have to have your hands a certain distance apart. You can't make them too wide to lessen the range of motion. You can't move your hips off the bench, and your feet also can't lift. You're quite literally planted there. When you're planted there, when you bring the bar down, it needs to be slow enough so that you can stop it on your chest. So when you stop it on your chest, it's actually stopped. It needs to be motionless. So none of that momentum stuff. It's straight pressing power.
We run it by doing 4-week blocks, 1 week of a deload, 3 weeks of actual training, where we'd up the RPE every week of our top sets on the SBD day and our secondaries and accessories.
I feel like saying as well, our week 1 wasn't as much of a deload as a normal deload. Our week 1, like a deload, you're kind of like at 50%. Our week 1 was like an RPE 5 to 6, which is kind of 50%, but a lot of the time you start your body a little bit higher so that you can build higher momentum. I guess it always depends on the block before, like how much fatigue have you built up? Was that like an RPE 10 the week before? Because if so, you can't start the next block heavy. You have to strip away that fatigue before you go.
With every month or every block that we progressed in, and it was getting closer to comp, we thought we had to be more specific with our lifts. So for example, we cut back the amount of reps. We get it closer to 1 rep. So about 3 blocks out, we were doing 2 to 3 reps on our SBD movements. When it came to 2 blocks out, we were doing 1 or 2. And when it came to the final block, no matter what, we were doing 1 rep on our SBD movements.
So the one thing I'll say which you guys can take away from powerlifting is take away the stage, take away the big numbers. All it really does is make you train better. Because even if you're not doing the most optimal thing in the world, you're adding structure to your stuff. It's no longer you in year 7 going in the old session and be like,
"Hey boys, can I have PR today? Can we get a PR?"
And you're just sending something which absolutely is not getting, like, you're not getting that, bro, no matter how much you train. But you take away the uncertainty of your list and you add program in which you know you're gonna hit the PR. Like realistically, if you've gotten 200 kg deadlift for a triple, you should be able to get 210 for one. Like that just is how it is. So it adds structure, it adds reliability, it prevents fatigue. Prevents you injuring yourself therefore, and also it practices good form.
The actual competition. So what happened?
You may as well start though, because you...
Yeah. Okay, we'll go off what I actually thought I was going to get. Squat, I didn't think I was going to get anything above 167.5. That's what we were saying. We said 170 was there. We said 170 is there, but genuinely internally, I was like, even though I'll put it on the screen here, my week 3, 1 week out when I hit 165, it moved great, but there was a small part of me where I was like, what if I don't get depth? I never had issues with depth. But when I had that first attempt, that my opener for squat, and I got the 2 red lights for depth, I remember you'd always say to me, I'm going osteographs, I'm going far too deep.
I used to say it's going too deep, yeah.
And then to think I got red lighted on my opener, what the fuck? Genuinely, I had no clue.
His ass hit his ankles, that's how deep
Bro, it was bad. But when I ended up getting 172.5 on that squat, I was so happy. Couldn't describe words, but better than that, bench. I actually failed 102.5, a block out from competition for a single in JD gyms. I'll put it here, but the main way that I failed was my hips came off the bench. I didn't want to admit it, the actual press was easy, but it was not to standard. And that scared the bit where I was like, right, I'm not going to bench over 100. And that's where I thought to myself, do I open with 90 and just try and get 100 on my final so it was to standard?
Yeah.
But on the day, the taper worked wonders. It worked wonders, genuinely. Everything was great, even though I was on no seat for the day. I'd done 102.5 and I'll never forget the look where we went 110. Fuck it, send it.
Just like send it, because
best feeling ever.
But probably even better after you actually got it, because I think we both knew there was a chance for it.
Yeah.
And I thought he'd get it. I wasn't 100% sure, obviously, because we don't know. It's that heavy in terms of what he's done before.
The deadlift, I knew I had 217.5. I think I knew I had 220 as well. But because I wanted to secure the 500 kg total, I just played it smart. And
yeah, I guess also
the stomach issues.
But also your second attempt, I think.
Yes, you got 1 red light.
So yeah, a few of us saw a slight shiver in his legs where it almost looked like he was hitching, but he wasn't hitching. But it looked like if he shook like that on his 3rd attempt, they'd disqualify him. Which is why I was like, fuck it, I know you want 220, but I was like, let's just secure the fucking
500.
The 500. Let's just secure it. And he got it quite easily. Also, if I could go back and I knew this, I'd have definitely said no to 20. But it was definitely just a safe option, like by far.
But for the sake of 2.5 kilos above the total that I wanted, there was no reason to load that. And I'm happy with every decision on that day.
The day after was me then. I wouldn't say I was necessarily nervous for any lift. I think bench, I was a little nervous for.
No, you were. Deadlifts, your callus, not strength.
Callus was a huge one, so I tore my callus disgustingly. Like, you know when you hear people say they tore the callus, it's a bit of skin flaking off? No. My whole, like, there was craters in my hand of just skin missing. Blood was pooling out, raw skin, and it stunk, like actual rotting flesh. Every night I had a band-aid over it. I'd compress it, I'd have to put worker's balm over it, I'd have to wash it with warm soap and warm water, and it was so long. This was 1 week out on a 230 deadlift, which moved fast. And then I looked at my hand after and I thought, there's no way I can compete. But luckily enough, I was on it, recovering every single day non-stop, making sure I was sleeping as much as I could to speed up recovery. And on the day, it held out. So squat was one where I was like, okay, I'm feeling my grip. I'm like, I can grip the bar on squats fine, that's cool. And then I ended up getting 200 pretty fast. So we were like, fuck it, 210. We loaded up 210 and that was pretty good. Pretty good. I reckon I probably had 215 on the day if pushed. But in hindsight now, it was the right call. Bench 142.5 was technically a PR for me. In terms of
2.5 kilo comp.
Comp standard 2.5 kilo PR. I actually ended up hitting a 10 kilo comp PR on the day, because after 142 I was like, bro, I've got 150. Especially because I'd hit 140 before, it was so easy that I was just like, well yeah, obviously I've got 150, like obviously. So we loaded it up. Well, actually with 142 it was scary because my timer was going down because my hands were actually a bit too wide.
Yes, that was the scariest thing ever, because obviously we were handling each other on each day. And one of the judges said to him, oh sorry, you can't do that, your hands have to be within the rings. And I was looking at the timer, and by the time he pressed it and got the wrap command, he had 3 seconds left. That was the most nerve-wracking point in my life, because to fail a lift to time, because the hands in the rings, which whatever.
The funniest thing was, the guy who was there was like sweet talking me for a lift. He was like, you've got enough time. And I was like, okay, cool, I've got enough time. So I was readjusting, setting my lats up properly. I had no idea about the time, so I just did the rep, and then Wasim was like, bro, my heart. I was like, congratulate me. He goes, yeah, sorry, but like 2 seconds left. I was like, what? Even with being thrown off, 142 was still fast. Even with like timing, still fast. So loaded 150, we got it, and that was beautiful. And deads.
I don't think I've told you this. I was actually gonna tell you to load 147.5.
Yeah.
But because yesterday we had the fuck it moment, I had the exact same thing after seeing you. But again, it moved very fast, but because of the whole timer thing, I was thinking, what if that fatigued him? What if this, that?
There's lots.
And there were so many different, because when it goes unexpectedly, but I was like, no 150.
No, with Des was the one I was scared for most. Like even in the warm-ups in the back, I was just like not really putting my heart into it because my callus I was just so terrified of. And I think it was only until I did my opener that I was like, actually, my hands are okay. So I did my opener, cool, moved fine. Did my second, once again, moved fine. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what, if it rips, it just rips. So I just went out and I gripped as hard as I could. Obviously, I was fatigued from squat and bench. On top of that, there's always subconscious scare of this and the pain that this brought. So 240, didn't move as fast as I liked it to, but it still moved, still got the rep. It was a bit of a grind, but we got it in the end, and so we were 500 and 600 kg total. Pretty tough, I would like, pretty tough.
Would you change anything from the day?
From the day, I would say...
Also in the lead up?
Well, for the day, I'd say lock in more for deads. Because I think I was too much in my own head about this.
I think you had 245, but I was so nervous to tell you to load 250, and I'm happy you didn't load 250. But I wish I kind of said to you 245 was there.
Yeah.
But again, you secured 600, who gives a fuck?
Like 600, 605, same. Like who cares, bro?
Like for the sake of 5 kilos, and then to not get, and then to miss it and get a 590, total, it's like who, you know.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's a lot more impressive to go up 10 kilos to the next 100, but the first bit in the hundreds of the next, like let's say 600, 605, 610, 615, it wouldn't hit the same as if, you know, if you're doing it at 600.
Prep, I think, went, like, because you said the lead up as well, I think prep went really well. I didn't fail anything, really. There was one triple, like, early on, which I failed on bench.
That was timing.
But that was so long ago, and like...
I think there were actual reasons why you failed it as well. I don't think you failed it out of strength. I think there were genuine fatigue reasons.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any issues throughout training for me to go back and critique. Because I'd have liked, I guess one thing which could have been better was my diet for sure. Because both of us, we were just like, because we wanted to get our weight higher.
With me, fat.
Carbs and fat. Like, at least with me, it wasn't like sweets or ice cream and shit, it was just like bowls of cereal. Crap, I want to make sure protein's actually there so that I do recover. And maybe push my accessories a little bit more, who knows?
Honestly, I feel like my powerlifting competition was purely fed on Cookie Crisps. The amount of carbs you get and then the milk, whole fat, oh my god, best thing ever. Let's say I wouldn't change a thing because it was so enjoyable just being able to eat whatever I wanted as long as there was a decent amount of protein. I feel like I ate more than you.
At times.
Not because I was actively thinking about it, just because I just like eating. Not that you don't, but I was just fatter. I was mentally
think maybe volume-wise you did eat more than me, but I think the quality of food was probably worse.
Yeah. Like sweets, ice cream, apples through the...
Whereas I would just have like more rice or more pasta or something like that.
You'd have a lot more carby stuff. I'd have a lot more sweets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So my fats were definitely up there, but it fueled me. You know, got 500 total.
It worked in the end, but I would definitely say, fix up your diet, like, please, because...
What, now you're telling me all?
I'm just saying,
yeah.
Life, Oh, one thing I will say, hidden gem, by the way. I ended up getting, on comp days, it was a little risky, or like before, like the night before comp day. I ended up getting like some carb gels, like some energy gels.
And I was no clue what you were about to say.
It was really creepy. Like really, really creepy. They're like this weird sugary gel in a pouch. Like you eat it, and it's very weird because it's not.
We'll put one here so you know what we're.
You can show the exact one. It was Vimto. I think it was a Vimto energy gel, and there was one more probably. But I would say if you need fast carbs before a workout, you don't want to stuff yourself. Just get an energy gel. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I was doing an SBD day again, when I start running those, eventually when I'm in my next prep. I'm definitely gonna just take one of those, and it's easier for me than taking around, a box of sweets. I'm looking literally fat in the gym.
Proper stereotypical powerlifter. I think we became extremely stereotypical the second we took it more seriously. It showed we actually cared, but the sweets, the yap, the having 100 pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
But the
yap was insane. That was historical. That was generational yap. You might look at your gym friend and be like, God, why is he talking? But it gets to a point where you get emotionally invested in the conversation about what's optimal and what's not. And then you find yourself, three of you arguing in a posing room in base gym in Bristol, half naked, arguing over how many rep ranges you should be doing for max hypertrophy or max strength gain.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
I fucking hated it initially. Like, I did not like it.
You were not a big fan.
With powerlifting, I did not like the idea of I was gonna get fatter. My actual strength to the general person wasn't gonna go up because I was doing volume and rep work. And it's going to comp standard where I look weaker even though I'm not. It's perceived as weaker. I'm the same strength. It's just a lot more strict, so it's showing me how strong I actually am. And then that was the thing where I was like, I'm not sure if I like this. The whole thing of putting on weight as well for me was always a struggle, but when I found actually how to gain weight, then from that point, and all my lifts started to correlate with that, where they started going up, I enjoyed it a lot more. It was an experience, and it was something that I had to really become emotionally invested into. Only then I enjoyed it. I would actually look forward to my week 4 SBDs, and I would genuinely be nervous, excited, and just looking forward to it. That's the thing. Before I used to see it as a chore.
If you're someone who doesn't like holding back in training, it's not fun initially, because for you get your love for the gym from that. Like that's where you get your enjoyment for the gym. And then all of a sudden you're like, nope, you can't go hard on that. Nope, cut that rep short. It's a little annoying. I think for me, I wasn't someone who was in the gym for like an hour and a half plus every time. Like for me, it'd be like quick 45 1 hour sessions. I'd always do my compound, maybe a few accessories, and I'd cut. So it was good for me because it kind of taught me like, no, just be in there a bit longer, be in there a bit longer. But then you get to a point like now, it's like 2 hour minimum sessions.
Make sure you follow our socials, our TikTok, our Instagram. Obviously subscribe to our YouTube, like the video. And Super Training Gym in Cheltenham, massive shout out to you guys. Every single spot there, you guys were amazing.
Shout out to Ned, obviously, big shout out to Ned.
I love you, man.
We've got all our training footage on all the socials that we'll see just listed. So yeah, check them out and we'll get back to you next time.